Hari Om. Hari Om, everyone. We'll begin with our opening prayers. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. And let us chant the Gita Dhyanam together. प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि Om. Welcome back, everyone. Warm welcome to our class, where we go through verse by verse, word by word, the Bhagavad Gita. We are on chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita now, where Bhagavan has just begun the teaching. Chapter 2 serves as a summary of the Gita in the sense that it provides the seeds and main concepts that will be elaborated throughout the Gita. And last week we went through and saw the breakdown of all the verses by topic. And where we are there, Bhagavan is now giving the highest teaching. You want to say highest, you can say highest. You want to say most fundamental, you can say most fundamental. But the point is, Bhagavan is now giving the answer to the riddle of human sorrow. He is giving the medicine or the vaccine for the disease of grief. And that is being done through knowledge. That is coming in the form of a change in vision, specifically knowledge about ourselves. That means to say that finally, when you get down to it, all the sorrow we have in life has its roots in the lack of some lack of understanding, some lack of appreciation, something we skipped over in our rush to define ourselves in life. To pierce the build-up of hang-ups and worries and anxieties and fears and regrets about the past, to pierce through all of that in the mind and touch the basic impurity of ignorance, Bhagavan has to choose such words that will shake us, surprise us, tickle us as listeners. And he's doing that using Arjuna as a means, speaking over his shoulders to humanity. Bhagavan speaks in principles. He tells universal facts or observations about the human condition. And that is why the Gita will work for anybody of any religion or any background. It approaches the human problem as a scientific one and gives the facts of life and observations for us to slowly check for ourselves and imbibe, as well as the various techniques for us to approach that if we are so unprepared. Specifically, Bhagavan opens with the very first statement. We'll chant again, verse 11. Vashochyananvashocastvam prajñavadamscha bhashase gatasunagatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Bhagavan says to all of us, by speaking to Arjuna, that, oh mankind, you speak words of wisdom when you describe your problems, when you describe the problems with others in the world. But what do? You grieve over things which should not be grieved over. That's the basic thing. Looking from where I stand, looking from the point of view of the wise person, standing on the other bank, which you will one day stand on, you will also say to yourself, ay, I was crying over things that ought not be cried over. And all the while, I was talking words of wisdom. I was acting smart. I was talking smart and acting foolish. And specifically, Arjuna, mankind, Panditaha, wise people, na anushochanti, they do not grieve over gatasun, those who have gone, agatasumscha, and those who have not gone, or you can say those who are yet to go. Those who are in the waiting room, or the, flight lounge. So they do not grieve over those who boarded the flight, or all of us who are sitting here and waiting to go. The reason that we act one way and talk wisely is because of the basic schism in the human personality. And that last class we spent a little considerable time discussing how we all have such schisms manifesting, where we can see other problems, for instance, but not see our own. We know everything wrong with other people, but we don't know what is wrong with us. We want to do well in life, but we procrastinate. And on and on. We saw so many examples last time. Those all indicate the presence of the Arjuna disease. So if Arjuna is doing the same symptom, and we are doing the same symptom, then we share the same fundamental disease. The reason is for the schism in our personality, why we cannot live up to clearly the high ideals that we have for everybody else in our own heart, is because we're not getting enough information about what is on the inside. We are totally blind to our own hang-ups, ignorance, and low values that we act out. We are unaware of how to guide ourselves, embrace ourselves, to live up to the potential that is inside. We are totally handicapped in the inner world, and thus the schism arises. And we make a fool of ourselves, spitting top in mud, as they say, but talking about how the government should have engineered that building better. Like that type of problem. Right. Now, one point specifically is this matter of, on the battlefield, not any light matter is happening, the matter of life and death. So we talk words of, and this happens in the news also, who ought to live and who ought to die and who is right and which side of the war is the righteous one, and or no side of the war is the righteous one, or who should be imprisoned and who should be let free, and a lot of human time is spent on that or not. You just have to look, going back in history, look at what is being talked about on the news today. Go back 5 years and look what was being talked about in the news 5 years ago. Go back to time of Mahabharata and Arjuna also asking the same sort of questions. So let us think a little bit about this perennial and essential problem about life and death. And this will continue over the next few verses, right? Those who we consider near and dear ones, we feel they should never die. And I should never go through the sorrow of witnessing their death. And those who are not near and dear, well, let them go. And you and I are near and dear for some, and at the same time we are not near and dear for others. So when we go, there will be some who say, oh, they shouldn't have gone. And there will be others, like a neighbor, who will say, finally they went and made room for others. I remember saying last time, Bhagavan, Yamraj, you're never late, but you were overdue with this one. So that itself shows the superficiality of our human calculation on this matter. The truth is, we are equally related to all beings in the universe. Either you say we're equally related to all beings in the universe, or you say we're equally not related to all beings in the universe. But to say some are related to me and some are not related to me is a basic miscalculation. So the suggestion would be then to think over this topic a little bit more, slowly imbibe it. See, those who take marriage, that's a good example, because there was a time when, before you met this person, you did not know them. And if it was their time to go before they met you, you wouldn't have lost a wink of sleep. Correct or not? You wouldn't have even batted an eye between commercials if you heard that information. You would have skipped it like you skip the news and they talk about people dying and here there. Correct? But once meeting that individual and developing a relationship, when it is their time to go, then we have problems. We have problems with the world, we have problems with Bhagavan, we have problems, all type of sorrow comes. That itself shows that if I could feel nothing for that person in one circumstance, and I could feel everything in a different circumstance, it means to say my whole story that I'm telling about my relationship with that person is not built on very solid, true grounds. A safer way to interact with all those that we love and take care of and sacrifice for, and they who sacrifice for us and all of that, is to remember the basic fact that coming and going in this samsara is in the hands of Bhagavan. It is a part of life. And this person who I am now marrying, they have an expiration date. I have an expiration date. Like when you get anything from the packaged good, it's already written. The expiration date is not in your hands. It's not in the buyer's hands. When you say, okay, I'm choosing this one and I'm bringing it home and making it mine, it still has an expiration date. And it is not in my hands. And this is the nature of the world. That things are here for some time and then they go. So keep this knowledge in the mind the whole time. Just like how when you get onto a plane, the very first thing the air hostess tells you is how to exit. Before you think about settling in and doing anything, please know, in the case of emergency, you exit through here. Please note, we're going to land at this time, in which case, no emergency, exit from there. This is here for some time. So to keep this in the mind, it does several things. When the inevitable happens, you're way more prepared. This is the most basic thing. And preparation of mind is no small thing. In all great transitions in life, for the ordinary person, tremendous preparation is necessary. You just think in your own life, how much preparation your parents had to do before, when you were 4 years old, they're 5 years old, they said, okay, now I'm taking you to school and I'm leaving you here. If they didn't prepare you and they just dropped you and left one day, that would have been a shock that reverberated into your old age. Then the school prepares you. Okay, next year you're going to go to this grade. Then they prepare you to go to university, and then they prepare you to go to work. For 20 years they prepare you. You go to work, you have to go for yourself, then they prepare you. One day you have to get married. You have to leave this house. So much preparation is done for simple things. And no preparation we put in mind at all for the coming and going of those we call near and dear. The other key thing to prepare our minds about is it is very much possible for me to expand my love from myself to this individual. And in the same way, I should go on expanding my love to all those individuals who are in the family. Not just nuclear, but it is difficult, but extended family also. When you meet now and then, to extend myself. Means I have the same amount of welcoming, and I have the same, no need to fix you, change you. I have the same amount of appreciation, and I giggle at your difficulties the same way I would for my little children. I have the same bigness of heart for all those in my family. And I should keep working in my lifetime to extend that to those in my neighborhood, those of my clan, those of my type, on and on until I can expand it no more. Doing so does not in any way reduce your love for your original loved ones. In fact, it makes you more lovable. And it allows that person to expand their own self, which makes them more lovable. Then you get to be close to the nuclear reactor of love that is expanding to all people, and they get to be close to the nuclear reactor of love that is you, and you both get to be independent pillars that are reactive and sharing love everywhere. So this is the vision. However, to spend no time in expanding our heart to the truth that we are equally related to all beings, and our heart has nuclear capacity to feel openness and love and acceptance for any being. To not expand that is actually a very painful thing. It is a limitation on our very self, like trying to hold back a sneeze. You want to sneeze and you can't. A little gruesome, but trying to hold back when you're going to the bathroom. Means it's not natural to try and limit my love just to this person. And so we invite tremendous sorrow into our life when near and dear ones go and we have not let our heart expand. Right? So Bhagavan is leading Arjuna in this direction and saying wise people they don't cry. If you want to summarize everything of this verse in one word, it'll come later in Bhagavad Gita. Apariharartha. Inevitable. Arjuna, wise people don't cry over things that are inevitable. A little baby will cry over a balloon which pops. But the mother and father are surprised when it pops, in the sense that I'm surprised it lasted so long. I don't cry when the balloon pops. I don't cry when the cake comes out of the oven hot and I can't eat it. I don't cry when I get thirsty, and I don't cry when I get satisfied also. I don't cry when the sun sets. I don't cry when the night is over and the sun rises. And I don't cry when people come and go. I don't cry for the inevitable. Only the young, at psychologically very young, easily shaken individuals will cry. And Arjuna, that type of mind, is not going to be able to stand up and serve society. You're not going to be able to, your knees will continue to fall weak. But if you want to know more about why a person should never cry over those who are gone, Bhagavan, now let me explain why it is totally fine. From every point of view, when Bhagavan is done, there will be absolutely no reason to cry. He will review this situation from every point of view. It will not be like, okay, from the point of view of Bhagavad Gita, I know I shouldn't cry, but still, this. No, when Bhagavan is done, he will analyze from every point of view and say, now what do you have to say? So let us chant the next verse. Answering a wonderful question. Why shouldn't we grieve? Nadvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Now, with all these lines are very famous lines. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. Arjuna, there was never ever a time, natu eva jatu, it was never that aham na asam, I was not there. Bhagavan Krishna is talking about himself. Not tvam, nor you. There was never a time when you were not there. Na ime janadipaha, nor these kings who you're worried about. There was never ever a time when I, you, nor these kings were not there in the past. And certainly, na bhavishyama, there will never be a time when they will not be there. Sarve vayamata param. We hereafter. For all of us, for we all. So there was never a time when I, you, nor them were not there, and there will never be a time also when we will not be there. So this is a proclamatory statement. Oh, very interesting thing. Now, the implications of this verse are tremendous. And it is to be taken in two ways. Bhagavan clearly here, at the highest level, is speaking about Atma, which is Nitya. There is something there which remains and will always be there. And that something is the most essential kernel of who you are, called Atma. So this is at one level. And this idea is so, goes down so nicely for a person of modern science. Huh? In science, if you were to hear a statement like this, no matter what, something was always there. Because from nothing you can get something. From nothing you can get something. You can't make a delicious dinner if there's no groceries. Nothing from the market. How will you make? Something must be there if you're going to produce something else. So there was always a time when it was there. Something was there. And if something is here now, in some way, shape, or form, it will be there in the future. So this is a very scientific assumption, what we call as a scientific assumption in modern day. It is also a very biological, that's from a physics point of view. From the biologist's point of view, this is so easy to accept. Whatever you see in the mirror, it didn't come from nothing. Your nose came from your grandfather, your ears came from your grandmother, your hair color came from your grandfather on the other side. Your height might have come from your grandmother on the other side, and they would have got it from someone back before. Correct or not? This is biology. What standing there in front of the mirror was already there, and it now only come again. It means the body itself, and not just the body. In the very nervous system, there are so many things passed down. They have done experiments to show, they zap rats in generation 1. When they touch something, they touch the wall, the rat gets zapped. For 3 generations later, the rat feels some kind of palpitation when they go near that. So things are passed down. Nothing is just there like that. Arjuna. So the Gita goes and says that the being, the life, what we say is the jiva, the being which is there, sitting in this body, experiencing everything, he will be there, just like every other thing in the universe. For someone to go now and say, yeah, that is true of physics, that is true in biology, that is true in traits, that is true in everything else, language, everything, except for me. And I have no basis for it, I just have a belief. Well, that seems more untenable, more hard to swallow, more made up than just saying the same rules that apply to everything also apply to me. I was always there. I will always be there. Now, the I. In Sanatana Dharma, the jiva, That is the word we use. We don't use the word soul because soul word is vague. Jiva is not vague. It's a clear definition. The jiva is the one, in simple terms, that is genderless and moves from body to body, carrying with it all the traits and habits and tendencies of that individual being. And that explains so many things, which will come up later in Gita about reincarnation and all that. But that is what the jiva is. The being which travels from body to body. It doesn't have any gender. It doesn't have any age. It is ageless. You are ageless. This will come up just now. That is the jiva. And Arjuna, it has always been there. In Sanatana Dharma, there are three aspects of this manifest universe which have always been there. One is the jiva. The other is the jagat. In some form, this universe has been there. And the last is Jagadishvara, the source of everything. So the Bhagavan, Jagadishvara means Bhagavan. So these three are eternal. Means we cannot find the beginning. Like that. So these are the three eternal aspects. And here one is being pointed out very clearly. Now, that means if you go back 1,000 years, I was there? Yes. Arjuna was there? Well, yeah, this Mahabharata, you go back more than 1,000 years. Mahabharata in the previous yuga. So you go back 1,000 years, you were there. Bhagavan Shri Krishna was there. All these kings were there. 2,000 years? Yes. 5,000 years? Yes. 10,000 years? Yes. You were there. You may not be in this body or in this place, but you were there. And you go 1,000 years forward from now, I'll be there. In some way, shape, or form, that being will exist in some body, in some form. We do not know the beginning or end of the universe. The vastness of what we can just see is mind-boggling, unconceivable. And that is only the universe we can see. And now science is imagining that there are different, various types of universes. So it is not impossible to imagine different ways of being. Every night you go to sleep, you dream yourself in some body or the other. It is, and then in life we pretend and take on clothes and pretend we're a different being or the other. It is very natural for the being inside to understand himself to be other than this, just this physical body. Because truly, you are the being which travels from body to body. Right? So this is the statement being made. One of the implications, very clearly, is you don't need to worry so much at all, really, about death. For yourself, you don't need to worry about your death. In the sense that it is not a tremendous event. It is just another part of life. Death here means life somewhere else. Death is like travel. Death is not like removal of existence. So the next time you encounter death anywhere, when we get scared and frightened and we cry, we must, with this wisdom, look again at what is going on in our mind. What is going on in our mind? Well, the fact is, the being who's gone, they're happy. They're gone to the next life. Progress is being made. Travel is happening. Right? So I cannot be crying for their welfare. So then whose welfare is left? I'm crying for myself. I'm crying for myself. That I must know. And the cry is a very superficial cry. Because suppose 1 week later, that same person gets up from suppose they were put in the burial ground, and comes by your window and goes tap, 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 let me in. You will let them in? You will jump out of your skin. You will go and take another body. So 1 minute we're crying, but if we could push a button to bring them from wherever they are to come, many people will be totally unnerved. Correct? And I heard Puja Swami Prakashanandaji tell this story, and then I heard the exact thing with my own ears. Somebody telling at a wake service in tears about their Aji. And the tears, which looked so genuine, were followed with this statement: "Oh, Aji, you're gone. Who will make sweet rice for me now? I'll never eat your sweet rice again." Sweet rice means kheer. So, Aji is gone and living very happily in her next birth, wherever it might be. Right? And that individual is not concerned about their welfare. Aji's welfare. They're concerned about their tongue. They're crying for sweet rice. This is how light and superficial our fear is. Think a little bit more now about it. Huh? Suppose you are given now a button. I gave you a button. And if you push it, you could have back, from wherever they are, a loved one. And they will just give up whatever they were doing there and give up all the progress made until the time that you go backwards. 5 years when you were laying together, eating sweet rice with your Aji. Push the button and go back. Right? So now the Aji is there and making sweet rice there in the kitchen, and you sitting and waiting and gaffing and bhajan going on in this nice time. So you can push the button and bring them back and make them do it again. You'll go back in time, they'll go back in time, everything, all the people around who are related have to go back and give up wherever they are now and all that and bring it all back so you could have it again. Suppose really you have that opportunity. You'll push the button. See, even for yourself, you will have to give up all the things that happen in your life thereafter to go back and have that. And it will be just a total expression of pure meanness and selfishness if you brought back that individual which you love from what they're doing to come and do this for you. Wouldn't it be better to enjoy the same quality of joy now? To learn to make that sweet rice for somebody else, if you want to put it that way? Because that is possible. The sadness I feel in the present, to avoid that, I cry and lament and talk and all that. We could spend decades avoiding the grief for my own loss. I'll never taste this again. We grieve for any simple thing. To avoid that grief. But if we fess up to it, face it, feel it, let it move through us, with the wisdom that we know what is going on here, you will find on the other side of that all that thing, emotion, is just another form of the joy that you had in the past. We are capable of remembering a joyous time in the past without needing to recreate it. In fact, the not needing to recreate it is what made it enjoyable in the first place. So if I want to ever enjoy it again, I have to put myself back in the state of mind when I enjoyed it the first time. And I can do that now. And that has always been with me. And in fact, whatever joy I felt in the past with whoever and whatever, that joy didn't come from them, it came from me. Or if you want to put it even, dilute it a little bit, you could say they were the mirror for my own joy. So when I feel my own joy, I feel whatever they gave me. They're present in that. Do you want to say in such poetic language? The point is that we cry superficial tears And it goes on for decades. And a lot of it has to do with not thinking through, not feeling, avoiding, and taking ineffective methods to deal with this very natural and normal aspect of life, death. That is not such a serious thing in Hinduism. It is shocking to hear this because how we grow up now and with the prevailing theological frame from other religions and all that, death is a tremendous thing. So on the news you will hear about deaths like it should not have happened. People should never die. People should only be born. And they should live forever. So with that sort of mind, the news is presented. Balloons should never pop. Balloons should only be blown. Like that. That sort of presentation is made. So we get a kind of feeling that something is wrong. People should not have passed away. Therefore, we have effort also in science. Let life go on forever. So a lot of effort is to extend life without calculating all the problems that come with that. If you're not allowed to travel and move and progress, then you keep people on drugs and put them in homes and then treat them badly is a huge epidemic. Every day it is going on. Correct or not? There is nothing wrong in going when the time has come. And it is nobody has the prerogative also. The concept should be also coming closer to home. Bhagavan, when it is time for me to go, I'm going to study this Gita, I'm going to reflect, I'm going to live my life, I'm going to face my emotions, and I finally will be happy to go when it is time to go. In this direction we should all be moving. Happily we should go. So in scriptures, when you study it, you will find that death is a very normal part of life. This is one of the most important things you can gain from this section here of Bhagavad Gita. And I live and breathe and think and feel and serve and offer myself in such a way that I am ready to go anytime. I move in that direction. And really, such a life is full of more joy, more acceptance, more bravery, more everything. Everything we put on a pedestal in life comes from someone who adds this to their vision. It is not in any way against that. So, my dear Arjuna, don't weep. All these jivas will be there in a different form. And you see, specifically when it comes to Bhishma, laying on the bed of arrows, Arjuna's own arrows, laying on that bed of arrows, right? Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, now go to Bhishma and learn from him. Bhishma was such a great Purusha, Mahapurusha, that Bhagavan Shri Krishna feels that he will better now teach dharma of being a king to Arjuna. That means to say, whatever gati, whatever destination is there for Bhishma Pitamaha, it is going to be something great. So Arjuna, you need not worry. And if you in your life have noble people around you, who have sacrificed, who have loved, who have devoted themselves to Bhagavan, who have done noble things like this in life, you don't have to worry. It is okay to cry and feel sad, because naturally there will be some attachment, but not to grieve. This is also a very important point. The previous verse just said, Na anushochanti panditaha. Wise people do not grieve. Gatasun, about people who go. And now I just said, it is okay to feel sad. And we see also, throughout the scriptures, saints and sages will shed tears when different losses happen. So how is that? How do you put it together? Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji answered this so nicely, that emotions are an ornament to life. But not sentimentality. That is an ugly stain on a personality. I paraphrase that quote from Gurudev. Meaning to say, it is beautiful even to have the various emotions that come with connection and loss and all of that. But wise people do not grieve over that. They may feel everything that is there to be felt, but in no way does it cause them to suffer, to give up their duty as Arjuna wants to do, to lose total balance, to run away from life, to blame, to feel fear, to have it shock their identity and meaning in life, and all of that. That is called anushodhyanti. It shakes them to the core. That never happens. Huh? Right. Then in the next verse now, Bhagavan is going to tell us a little bit more about how to conceptualize this being that is there. Huh? Because from our point of view, there has never been any separation between me and my body I've been living. Now, Bhagavan is introducing me to the idea that there is a being inside. So more is told about that and how to understand and observe our own experience to realize in our own heart that, oh yeah, I am a being inside. It cannot be any other way. Everything points to that. So Bhagavan slowly gives these types of pointers. All right. Wow. We only did one verse today. So we leave it here in verse 12, and we'll pick up from verse 13 tomorrow. We'll say closing prayer, and then if there are any questions, we'll open it up for questions for those who are joining on the interactive version here in Zoom. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. All right. Hari Om to everyone joining on Facebook. Right. Okay.